Man falls off a cliff by accident, but is saved by the sea. Just as he is about to take off from his spot, he finds himself surrounded by seawater. The man was so angry that he was attacked by blood. The next day, when Jack woke up again, he found a deep cut on his lower back. He pulled back his shirt to find his spine was misaligned. There was no feeling in his legs, only his toes could be moved. Jack hurriedly dropped his backpack. He put down his backpack. He took out his mobile phone to call for help, but the phone was too wet to turn on the screen. Jack threw the phone down. He threw it down and turned to the cliff. He tries to shout for help. There was no one around, nothing but the sound of the waves. There was nothing else. Hope is lost. Jack took off his clothes, wrapped his hands. Soon the sea rises. Jack swam out to sea with the water, but his injured right hand met the sea. The pain in his right hand was so intense that, within 2 strokes, his abdominal wound began to split open. The pain was so intense that his muscles went into spasm. Jack tries desperately to keep himself afloat. Jack lost his ability to move at all. But as time went on, Jack lost his ability to move at all. Gradually, he sank to the bottom of the sea. Just as he was about to suffocate, suddenly he has a vision. He saw his girlfriend. She says to him, follow. Follow. So Jack used all his strength to fight through the excruciating pain. He swam desperately towards the shore. He wrote a big distress call on the beach. His face was as white as a sheet at this point. At that moment, a surfboard washes up on the beach. Jack crawls over to it, but is knocked hard onto the rocks by the waves. He passes out. At that moment, a helicopter swept overhead. The helicopter was soaked in the water that the others didn't even see it. The only chance of survival flew away. To keep from being swept away by the waves, Jack desperately hooks his backpack to the rocks. It was his last straw. After a few hours of hard work, the waves finally faded. In order to stay alive, Jack gathers bottles and jars from the beach, but without exception, they were full of undrinkable seawater. Luckily, Jack has learned a little bit about survival. He dug a hole in the ground. He buried all the jars again. It was getting dark. Jack was tired and hungry after a long day's work. Suddenly a flash of lightning struck. It was as if Jack had seen hope. He was about to make a big effort, but the heavens had played a joke on him. The rain was gone after only a few drops. Jack was hungry and thirsty. Jack licked the tin foil dry with all his might. To keep up his strength, he soon collapsed into sleep. The next day, a ringing phone woke the men up. Jack was so excited. Immediately, he looked around. Could it be that the phone had a signal?